Going?
Are you ready now?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Rachel Adams, and I will be speaking about French farce. Farce plays focus on situations that are far too extreme for real life, but are hilarious in idea. Farce plays are almost always a one-act and are very straight to the point. They consist of having a secret that can't be told or some sort of issue that the audience is aware of, but some of the characters aren't. And the play is set in one location where all of the events occur. The first form of farce was in satire plays in early Greek history. But farces don't just end there. Each culture and country had their own assortment of farces, ranging from all sorts of different situations and stories. A more modern example of this type of play would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Many people don't seem to see the way that farce is in our modern theater, but I see it constantly. Comedy has become a thing of physicality, not so much intelligence. Most comedians and even comedies rely on a physical aspect to make them funny, which allows for less thought going into writing a comedy. In my research, I looked at all different types of plays. I decided to focus mainly on bedroom farces, which are plays that tend to be more sexual and inappropriate. The first French farce that I both read and watched was Boing Boing by Marc Camelotti. The next play that I watched was The Miser by Molière. In both I noticed that the actors used their bodies to portray themselves and make what they were saying even funnier and more dramatic. Farces tend to consist of a much more physical comedy than an intellectual one. The actors would throw themselves about and make every movement big. There was no such thing as a small movement in either of the plays that I watched. They wanted to make sure that every eye was on them and that every movement was comical and dramatic. They did it all for the laugh. That was what made the plays so comical. Therefore, I decided to study their movement more closely and focus my performance on that. After deciding this, I had the idea to look up a classic comedian, Charlie Chaplin. He used to rely on using only his body to portray movies, and I thought he would be the perfect example to get an idea of how to perform from. I studied the way he used his body and watched the French farces a few more times, so I'd be sure to get the perfect idea of how to move my body. Luckily, I also have had an experience of working in a few original farces, so I had an idea of the body movement and how they should be using it to make each moment comical. I then took my experience and knowledge of farce movement and applied it to a moment in theater. Typically this piece would be tragic and not comedic, but I decided to try my best to make it the opposite. So without further ado, I will be doing Hamlet's first soliloquy from Act 1. Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew. That the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Farm it off, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed things rank and gross, and nature possess it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satyr, so loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember, or she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet, within a month, let me not think on it, Frailty thy name is, woman! A little month or ere those shoes were old, with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, oh God, a beast that wants discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married, almost a wicked speed to pose with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue